IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. All right, it's called Cock and Bull. Normally, a host would be very excited to do this program. I am not that host. I'm living in a sea of mediocrity at the moment, thanks to my lovely country. Want to quickly mention before we go into Cock and Bull and talk about our lovely guest, Utsav, who's waiting for the last half an hour. My mother and I have a very interesting relationship right now, I have to confess. Every morning, she's sending me these little goody-goody quotes. I'll just read them out to, just fill you with the milk of human kindness. This is from my mom. Good morning. Have a fantastic day. Respect is the most important element of your personality. It's like an investment. Whatever we give to others, it will return to us with profit. And of course, as a good-natured son, my reply is rubbish. Respect is overrated. Politeness is a waste of time. We should abuse each other and get on with honesty. And my mother's reply is, please don't reply. So, my point is, I don't know, I think I've just become so cynical and mean-spirited. My poor mother, I think mothers can't help being mothers for life. So she still thinks she's 8 years old, we're all going through a bad phase, and she's trying to motivate you like a mother would. So from the goodness of the one pure thing that remains is a mother's role towards her people, her children, her maternal instincts and all that, whatever our age is. Unfortunately, I just can't reciprocate because I'm not 6 anymore. So nothing irritates me more than these quotes. And she's not the only one. I've got quotes in Sanskrit coming my way. I've got quotes in Gujarati coming my way. I've got quotes from Shakespeare coming my way. I have so many moronic friends who are filled with this fake sense of human kindness and send greetings and loving thoughts and great moments. I think if you want to send anything, send money. If you really care, send money. That's the only way I'll appreciate your kindness. Otherwise, I think it's just meaningless.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
Am I being too cynical? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I agree. I'm on board 100%. I hate the good mornings. I honestly, our school group that we have, right? We have this Green Lawn school group. Mm-hmm. One of the most annoying things in these groups, right, is just this general sense of the positive messaging. Right, the positive messaging is the stuff that gets
positive. Huh.
Yeah, because it's I don't want to there are some groups I'm a part of where the rule is no forwarding at all. You can send anything you want to, but you got to type it yourself, right? So right. I mean, it's a self-maintained rule, but that's the rule, right? So what that does, it leads to more conversation and stuff like that, as opposed to just stupid shit coming through all the time. But the groups where
I'm just asking, I'm the only person who finds it uncool. People who on their WhatsApp groups who send these very goody messages. Huh. It's just destructive after some time because it's so fake, insincere, dishonest, moronic, stupid. And at the end of the day, do you really care? It's eating me up like a cancer.
For me, it becomes a little socially awkward because I'm not sure how do I respond to it. Should I say okay? Should I say thank you? Even though I don't agree with the message at all, right? And I think the other people also end up doing it because, they want to stay in touch in some way. And I'm like, this is the worst possible way to stay in touch. I'm much better off speaking to you once in 3 months rather than receive all this stupid good morning message from you.
Also, I think sometimes we're just scared to offend someone. So even though deep down we are feeling irritated, we just, go with the safer option, which is, okay, same to you. Like, Merry Christmas, same to you. Even though, you've not even thought about Christmas for the last 4 years.
Well, so that's my response to every greeting. Yeah, wish you the same. Huh. Right, so if somebody sends me a happy Diwali or anything like that, again, over there, wish you the same. Just because I don't want to send out a Diwali greeting myself.
The Diwali greetings and all are done completely on a habit formation, I cannot believe that people are actually thinking, hey, Silvery, man, we've had a great year this year, bro, now Diwali's come, so let's introspect a little bit. And it's all about
I really hope no one sends me that in 2020 that we have had a great year. I'll get inside the phone and snap them. Why? Because they're on record.
The opposition might. You don't know. Started off on a good footing in this session, throwing their books around and all that. I love the bad behavior in Parliament, I just, for me, that sense of normalcy is there the moment Parliament behavior is back to, behaving like monkeys and that kind of thing. I just think, okay, so it's not that bad, the pandemic. See, they're normal now again. They're abusing, they're cursing, they're throwing the mics, they're throwing the books they've never read, books which have rules in them. The paradoxical thought in all this is ridiculous. The guy is throwing the rule book at another guy. Neither of them have ever looked at the book. Oh, what fun.
And the best part is that about 25% of our parliamentarians are above 65 years of age, right? So they clearly have gone into that some major uncle zone that they don't really care what they say. They assume that whatever they say is right, and they have zero respect for the law or the book or anything which is even remotely logical. And that is the most entertaining part of the whole thing for me.
I think, Utsav, you hit the nail on the head, because this is the Rajya Sabha we're talking about. So we're adding another 10, 15 years on the average from Lok Sabha. So already they are representing the building Panchayat Raj, but in the Rajya Sabha. The same old uncles who we've spoken about all through these 6 months to drive us mad, and suddenly, will power, or think they will power. But I don't even think they listen to issues anymore. They've just decided, let's fight. Right? So it really doesn't matter. It's just like a nice, happy battle. They're back where, and there's no repercussion. They've been suspended for 1 week or something, which means nothing. You miss one session, which you may not have gone for anyway. You'll eat food in the Taj Mahal instead of coming to the canteen. That's the only difference.
It's like your mom, right? She might threaten to throw you out of the house if you do poorly at school or do something stupid. But you relatively know that the 1 week you're going to be back, worst case. And then end up at a relative's house for one. It doesn't really matter. It's like a fake punishment.
Correct. And in our generation, at least the mother would slap you and all that. Now, that's also gone.
Oh, yeah, that's not cool now.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to do that. So it's all great. You just throw a mic and then somebody says, sit down. You're right. There's just no penalty. There's no real penalty. You just do what you want. And all this is without alcohol. Imagine if we allowed them to drink. What fun we'd have on camera. Can you imagine?
But imagine if we gave all of them weed, they would not do anything. And currently, not doing anything with our country is a better option than what is happening right now.
Utsav, again, I salute you, because I think they'll put on Om Shanti Om and sing. Oh my God. What a lovely... But don't you guys feel happy when you see those kind of information and news where relatively bad behavior, which you're used to, comes back? That means pandemic is in the background for a minute and people are back to doing what they normally do. I feel a sense of happiness.
That's a massively twisted way to look at it, but okay, I guess.
Yeah, there's a positive perspective here.
No, but I mean, it is
like
true,
a good
right?
morning WhatsApp message now, too positive.
Too much. Shut down the Rajya Sabha. We can't do that, bhai. We have to. The government has to work now for us. Yes, Amit, you were saying?
No, it is great to see like bad behavior coming back, right? I mean, or to see more publicized bad behavior. It does bring that normalcy back. It is something that we need, right? I mean, people are too nice right now. And it's fake. You're right? I mean, too much niceness is.
Oh, you talk about fake. They do this acting. If you guys really watch the footage, you have to go on one of the Lok Sabha TV, one of the Rajya Sabha TV channels. You get the full thing. You watch the acting. So the guy starts screaming at the speaker, and then he stops and pauses so he can take in whether people are watching him or not. And then at the opportune time, he continues. It's like I take one, then take two. It's properly done like that. You're looking at it and you're saying it's almost like a T20 match. Now the bowler's going back to his run-up. You've got a little break. Then the ball comes again. It's like that. So it's not even... Yeah.
I think the next step is, how characters in comedy shows like The Office speak into the camera. After something has happened in the show. I think that's the next step now. They will fight and say, oh, I just felt like fighting today. It was just having a bad day and I felt so good and so relieved after doing this. And I think that's the next step for them on Rajya Sabha TV, and it would really take the ratings high for Rajya Sabha TV as well.
And while he's talking in the background, the other guy is still punching the other guy and all that. That shit should be happening in the background so that, we have that continuity. And then, of course, one of the punching guys comes in and this guy goes back. I like it. Let's make it a proper mockumentary. See, this is all the good stuff that people are hiding and not showing us. This will heal the nation, heal the world. I've seen Korean Parliament, for example. We're not the only ones. I've seen a guy do one of those tiger kicks where he's hit the head, a full kick. This is a 50-year-old man, full kick onto the forehead of the other guy. I was amazed. What a fit parliamentarian. If you look at it again from that point of view. At least
this is everywhere, right? I mean, very few countries where parliament is not because who are the people in parliament? The people in parliament are politicians. Who are politicians? Politicians are essentially people who live to perform. They are actors without acting.
Amit, you miss the irony in all this. So for the pandemic culture that we are in, they had put little screens, if you all saw properly. And you were supposed to have like a kiosk, almost like a telephone box booth in the old days, in the 80s and 90s, that kind of thing. So you're in that. That was gone. Within moments, there's a scuffle like a rugby match going on right in the pit, right in front of the speaker. What happened to all this social distance issues where we will set the example for everybody? There was no mask in place, nothing. There was screaming, shouting, books being flung, mics being flung, abuse, a guy waiting, trying to get the close-up, as you said, the mockumentary style. And that was all gone. And all these kiosks, so to speak, were empty.
No, the best part is that the reason why we fail so spectacularly at social distancing because we don't have an idea of personal space to begin with.
Correct.
Right? First of all, our country has no idea of personal space. Then you're asking you stay away, don't talk and don't socialize, and which is what essentially we do as a country. Right? So this is why we fail so spectacularly at these things and just show them in a parliament.
We have no chance in social distancing, not because of population, but because, like you said, just in our DNA, we've not understood that proximity issues are such and that you have to really keep distance. Within 5 minutes of any regular thing, it's all back to normal. You see the bus line, you see the taxi, the rickshaw guys trying to catch a rickshaw, fighting with each other to get into one. I mean, and share a cab is back. Everything is back. So much for one guy at the back.
And when you are sitting at home and you are socially distanced, you will send WhatsApp messages to people like good morning and good afternoon because you are like, why should I have personal space even in a digital medium? Let me intrude their inbox every single morning.
Well, there's a virus there too. So we can't escape it, whatever happens. But yeah, so I was just happy with the parliamentary behavior. Again, another irony, it's called parliamentary behavior. And what can be more unparliamentary than parliamentary behavior world over? But for me, the Rajya Sabha set a good standard. Let's hope going forward, IPL in the background, politics is back. I just have that feeling that we're getting closer to the old world. The corrupt, unhappy, terrible, intolerant world that we were born in and which we love. I want it back. I'm sick of this pandemic. Let's talk about Utsav himself, who we haven't seen for a long time. Utsav, how has it been?
It's been great.
Utsav, you're almost 50 episodes into your show, right?
Yeah. Actually, 50 is already done.
50 is already done. Sorry.
Yeah. And
so in our culture, that's the plug time. Huh? You're supposed to mention the show, talk about it for 2 minutes, and then we all pretend that it's a beautiful, sincere moment.
So I was just going into that, right?
Oh, sorry.
Last time we spoke, Cyrus, we were talking about making biryani as a cult and a religion, right? So I was making great progress on it, but unfortunately COVID hit. So I was like, let's have nothing better to do. So let's create podcast. So I made 50 episodes and Amit has not kicked me out yet, which means that it must be getting some 5 people must be listening to it. And then I'm like, ठीक है चलो कोई बात नहीं. तो फिर I thought, let me come here because maybe after listening to Cyrus, some 5 people will be like, चलो यार ये भी कुछ बोल रहा है इसको भी सुन ले.
No. We borrow your 5 people. Don't talk nonsense.
Cyrus, I'm so honored to have said that. Even though I know that you just have one listener, it's okay, and that is Antariksh.
I had one listener, and that was my mom. Now she's angry with me because I'm sending all these sarcastic rejoinders to her sweet sentimental messages in the morning. And the funny part is we live in the same house. This is like MTV early days when they would say, will you send an email? The guy sitting on this table, the guy sitting on the table next to him, and they have to correspond by email. I'm like, really? Because that's the Singapore way. I mean, sometimes it's just stupid. Why do we whatever, let's not get into that. Corporate world is another waste of time. Silvery is back. Good to have him.
But there's a reason why people do that stuff, right? They want to kind of make sure that's on the record.
Yeah, I get that. But you're literally saying, shall we shift the time from 6 to 7 for so-and-so function? He's sitting there. You're sending it on a freaking time. You can't just say, let's move it by 1 hour. Come on, there's a limit, boss.
Listen, I believe that stuff is stupid beyond belief, but that's why they do it, right? No, this is why people get 300 emails a day because people.
But again, there's a ridiculous irony here because we sit around the so-called fountain area or whatever and we joke about these issues, in the day that just happened. So everybody knows it's stupid. But we don't act on it because
in corporate we say, right, that what could have been meeting could have been an email. What could have been an email could have just been a 1-minute phone call.
Yeah,
and it would have been much easier. But I think talking about things being on record. Everything that happens in the parliament is technically on record, right? So I'm just wondering, the person who's probably transcribing the proceedings of the parliament, what does he end up transcribing? Like, he must be feeling like he's writing some Priyadarshan film where people are just running behind each other and throwing things at each other.
Derek O'Brien, for example, said that it was not him who threw the book. Because book throwing became a big issue because the book is holy and all that. You don't throw books. It's also lack of sophistication and all. So the class issue comes out, who would throw a book, etc. So he's saying he never threw the book. But then we did research. The book that was thrown was the Bonvita quiz contest. It's some sort of, irritation there. We don't know what's happening. Wheel within wheels.
Maybe he just did it to make sure that he can reboot the show again.
I think so. Or he was asking questions from the book and getting nowhere with these guys.
Yeah, he's not going to get anywhere. The school kids are smarter for sure.
Exactly. Name one amphibian who has 7 legs and all. I mean, the honorary MP from Rohtak is amphibian kya hai? It's a waste of time, this kind of dialogue. I love to see the different cultures that we have in a parliament. People from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, because they sometimes are in the same party, facing the same agenda, but they would never, ever hang out. Never ever. They've given her a chance. Like how we gravitate in the airport to each other and we chat because there's certain commonality. You know that there are subspecies amongst humans who just won't work together. I guess. Hum sab ek hai. Speaking of which, Mr. Takkar.
Hello, yes. Yeah, all right, let's get to the topics, guys. Okay, this is actually an interesting question before we get into the first topic. What is the worst thing you think a person can do for an insurance fraud?
The worst?
Like the worst, supposing someone wants to do an insurance fraud, what is the worst self-harm or self-damage, like burn their house down or something, you think, what's the worst you've heard of?
Burn his wife?
Take his head.
Kill the key man.
Yeah, there's a lot of murder shit that goes on. It
Yeah.
doesn't really get much worse than that, does it?
Okay, this woman in Slovenia chopped off her own hand for an insurance fraud.
What?
Yeah, I read about
Really
this
brought
after
joy to our
I
podcast.
said it was a
How much money do Slovenian insurance companies pay?
And
so,
how much do they pay for your hand?
And how
Yeah,
can
so
one
a
big
year-
character...
A year before she did this, she had signed a deal with like 5 insurance companies. She signed like insurance claims with like 5 insurance companies for self insurance, whatever you call that. And
For self-mutilation. It has to be an accident, right?
yeah, no, it has to be an accident. But she
Then?
tried to pass it off as an accident. She and her boyfriend tried to pass it off as an accident.
So
But
gives
yeah,
hand job a
they
whole
got
different
caught.
meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. They got caught. And dude, this woman is just 22 years old. Why would you do this?
Really? Oof.
Sorry, I started with a very dark topic.
No, it's lovely. I'm just thinking
Oh,
they
yeah.
must have been influenced by Thakur's character in Sholay for some reason.
No, but she just cut off her hand, not her arms.
No, one hand.
One
Yeah.
full hand.
Just like from here, the
No,
wrist.
From the wrist up.
From the wrist, yeah.
God,
that's
the
right.
details are not good. Ouch. I'm very squeamish about these things.
Yeah,
No, but
hand jobs are not possible anymore. Yeah, go on.
Yes, clearly not. No, it makes no. It's just bizarre.
I
Right?
want
I mean,
oxygen
like,
support.
I'm just thinking there are easier ways to commit insurance fraud than this.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the thing, Amit, if you
She
want
is 22.
Even a broken bone.
even if you want to be devil's advocate, the one thing is there that if you actually can cut off your arm, the chances are that they'll believe that it was an accident because it's just a ridiculous sort of thing.
Cut off a fucking finger.
Whatever. It's maybe the money, the premium, or whatever justified only if the hand went.
No, I mean, like, you're disabled even with the finger cut off, no?
I don't think so.
No, but there's
I'm sure
percentage disability.
Exactly.
And also must be like the amounts per
Finger cut.
per injury must be different. Like the amounts you get back.
Maybe in Slovenia they have 6 fingers. Maybe you have something there. I don't know. I'll have to
Wow.
check. Is that wrong to say?
Or maybe they
The
have
politically incorrect border. Yeah.
maybe they have 3 wrists also. Like she had 2 more to go. It's cool.
Oof. So now, Silvery, in your world, your fantasy, is a hot woman from Slovenia who has 3 arms. Hence, you marry her, she can get rid of one, still looks whole, and you get money from the insurance fraud. I like your fantasy. It's great stuff. Where do you live, Slovenia or India?
India, sadly. I have to go to Slovenia first thing.
They'll cut off more than your arm after a few years here. Or they'll cut it for you.
Oh my god, this is I just can't get over this.
He's killed our podcast.
Amit is still reeling. Is this really happening? Is this true?
How? I mean, no, because here's the thing, right? This is Antariksh said what he said. On this side, I just kind of quickly Googled it, and this is not like coming from like some tabloidy kind of thing, right? This is like real. They're like there's a ABC News story, there's a BBC story.
Yeah.
This is like.
Well, listen,
Legit.
this is their Ornob, Slovenia's Ornob. To distract with this story. They don't have a huge Bollywood entanglement, nexus, mafia of drugs and this and that, abatement to suicide, murder. They don't have that. Okay, it's a small country with less things happening, perhaps, in terms of shocking, shrieky, howling news. So they've gone with this, but it's taken away the people's dhyan is now on this and not on the politics of governing, which is the way to do it. So in a sense, I respect that country already. Slovenia.
Fair point, I guess, is better than I guess
It's not a fair point. It's a stupid, absurd point by a bizarre, naked man.
No, but it makes more sense than the kind of shit that we're talking about, right, on the news today.
Listen, you told me you don't believe in conspiracies, etc., right? But now, looking back at the 6 months in India and the way the media has gone to these smaller stories, with no disrespect to the dead, and blowing them up while you have 1 lakh infected and 2 lakh infected and this and that, they just push that out of the news nicely.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, right? I don't believe in conspiracies like in people hiding stuff together. I believe in agendas. There are agendas over here at play. right? And those agendas are coming through clearly. So when I say I don't believe in conspiracies, I don't believe in things like the moon landing didn't happen, or the flat earth theory, or I don't believe that 9/11 was an inside job.
Right.
But the fact that there are agendas behind this kind of coverage that is there, that I 100% agree.
So was Julius Caesar assassinated through a conspiracy, or did he fall on a kitchen knife 23 times?
No, he was assassinated there's no conspiracy. People know who killed him.
Yeah, but there was a conspiracy to kill him.
There was a conspiracy.
Then they killed him, the senators.
Right.
The rebel senators.
So conspiracy in that context, I do believe in. Right. Where I fall down with current conspiracies is when you say that there are these large number of people keeping secrets.
Okay, so
that's my thing. I don't believe large number.
Is there a secret sort of panel in the government, in many governments, where they like to just, including America, the great bastion of free press, where they like to just, target certain stories to spin it in such a way that it takes your eye off where the real issues are, and the government has no answer.
Is that a conspiracy? Well, no, I mean, I don't know that there's a conspiracy in terms of people doing that specifically, but I know that people have the agenda to do that, right? There are people out there who want to do that. There are, so right now, as part of, let's take India, right? There are people out there who want to keep this Bollywood story in the news because it hides all the other stuff. And
the only question is, are they doing it deliberately and successfully to avoid looking at bigger problems like the pandemic, the economy, which is a fallout of the pandemic, etc., which is really what they should be looking at.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are, right? And similarly, I mean, like in the US, I mean, this is the Roman thing, right? Sure, give them circuses so that they don't pay attention to politics, right?
Yeah. Please use an Italian accent when saying these kind of things, otherwise you throw my listeners, Give them circuses. Silvery is very good with accents. Silvery, the Scotsman, you're the Shoaib Akhtar of our show. Punjabi accent, but you're the Scottish accent. You bring that together and you've got one of the most beautiful sounds in any language anywhere.
Wait, Sean Connery is Scottish or is he Irish?
Scottish.
Oh, then I can do a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Hello there. How's it going?
There's a conspiracy against Scots and Slovakian people, and it's all because of you.
We should send Antariksh to Parliament. I think it will be a lot more entertaining. Just have him.
He's too young, yeah. My worry is that when they pick up mics and throw it, their back will go, arm will go. I'm more worried for my parliamentarians. But they seem quite robust when they're angry.
No, but Antariksh, because he's so young, he'll be like a bull in a china shop. He can get through Parliament in 5 minutes, right?
He'll be the hitman.
All 65-year-olds, yeah.
Is it true? Silvery, would you be happy? It
sounds great.
And we'll get you insurance, Antariksh.
What Milind Devra was telling me some time back, when he was a member of parliament, was that, you'll be surprised at how normal all the people are, in the sense that they argue, shout, scream, and literally, including MC, BC, sometimes the language is really bad. And then they break off because the thing is over, they break for lunch or whatever, and the same people who are fighting, they gravitate to one corner sometimes and they all chat about cricket. And it's like, I wish
that's like lawyers, right?
Yeah, like lawyers or even the ordinary panel. I'm sure if they put the TV off or the thing is over, suddenly they're discussing, oh, yaar, wo Belpuri dekha na, uska kya banaya Belpuri, yaar, he's damn good and all. This is some innocuous topic. I'm sure this happens. I wish we could see that because that's the truth.
But that is the truth, right? But again, both things are truth, right? I mean, like one is what they want to show the world and the other is what they are dealing with individually, right?
No, it's like the camera comes on, the avatar changes, the camera goes off, the avatar changes again.
But I mean, that is true, right, Cyrus? I mean, like the way that anybody talks when they're performing is different than the way they're going to talk when they're not.
You amplify when you're performing, you exaggerate, whatever, the blood rushes. But I'm saying you're talking about moral issues, ethical issues, you're talking about standing toe-to-toe against people, and the same people, the secularism of this is, again, hate to keep using ironic, because the moment it's over, they come back and you can actually see how secular they are in the sense that they don't really care. That's the point.
Because they are united by they might be divided by 100 things, but they're united by the fact that they want to make a fool of us. And at the end of it, they are like, did this again. We're going to do this every day. That's what we're getting paid for. So yeah.
Wow. Or hit me harder next time. Pakra nahi, close me.
I want to feel it.
Dinesh, close me, mila, nahi mila. One more time. I would.
They are the true method actors, actually.
Yeah. There's a show called Drop the Dead Donkey in the 90s in England. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. You must see it.
I think I remember.
Hilarious. Because they looked at it from this perspective. Always, how you had to make the news. My favorite scene is when they're in the middle of the Kuwait War, the Gulf War, and he's going to his correspondent there, and the correspondent is saying there are millions of people fleeing Kuwait City as we speak, and the same 5 people keep walking around behind him. That's it. Exactly the same 5. And one of them, Arab looking, has an accent straight from Dorchester, which he points out. But now that's the truth. Even now, the kind of media sort of speculation is never thorough. It's just there. They just hit you with barbs, and it's like advertising. Give some big details in the beginning of two lines and leave it there. They don't get into any topic properly and look at it from different angles and perspectives and then have a balanced, so-called balanced view. That's not going to be.
Because it is just titillation, right? They want to just titillate you and then leave you hanging. And they're like, okay.
It's not just that, right? It's also, I mean, like, if you're a television channel. So, I mean, like, agenda, yes, but I mean, like, even let's give them the best possible perspective or the best possible kind of point of view in terms of what their work is being done, right? Let's assume they're all honest and they're all doing it with their full intent. The problem still becomes that you only have so many hours at a time, right? Any news channel is basically 23 hours of linear time, 1.5 hours of viewership time, right? That's basically what you have available to you. So in an hour and a half, video is as a form, one that requires a long time to kind of lay out some stuff, as opposed to text, unless you have somebody reading text, right? So the when they talk about information density, right? Video is one of the least dense kind of ways to provide content to people, as opposed to there's video, then there's audio, and then there's text. Text is the densest way to provide people, right? So if you spend 1 hour reading text, the amount of information that you will pull in is much higher than the amount of information you will pull in.
So instead of dense, let's use the word active and passive. The most active is text, is what you're saying.
No, I was saying dense, right? Instead of how much information you're consuming in an hour. So the amount of information you would consume in an hour in text would be higher than audio, which would be higher than video, right? And the other problem with video is...
audio is higher than video?
Audio is higher than video.
Podcast rock!
Yes,
I've just got a message from my WhatsApp group that UNESCO has declared Cyrus Says as the most dense podcast in the world. Many congratulations to you. You have done it.
I would like to thank my mom, who sends me these messages every morning. It is her love and guidance that has brought me here.
You do not antagonize your only listener. Please understand this.
She doesn't have the app. She only watches that bloody Arnab show at 9 o'clock and the IPL after that. And now that my wife has thrown me out, I watch with her, I must tell you. And okay, we won't get back to Arnab because we're speaking too much about him. It's like his channel now. Back to that dense conversation we were having, Amit.
Yes, I know. No, information density is a thing. Because of that, the amount of information that you're going to be able to impart in a television channel is not going to be that high. It's by definition going to be superficial because, again...
So go the Gobel's way and just hit 1 or 2 points and just say the same thing again and again. We just kept saying murder. Yeah. Nobody was thinking about really how is it a murder. No one has actually got into that at all. And our mothers, as we discussed in other podcasts, will come and say it's a murder. That's it.
Wow. No, that's exactly what happens, right?
Let's say our podcast is number 1. Let's just keep saying it throughout. Let's just have
number 1. Who's saying it's not?
Okay, Utsav. Okay, I'll say yours is number 1.
Last week you told me my podcast is number 1.
Yeah. Your podcast is number 1 for...
Haven't you heard co-chair?
I'm just number 1. I don't want to put an asterisk mark and say amongst the 2 people who are living in my house who listen to my
podcast ka wada 50-50. 50-50. Learn to compromise. This is India. Everything is compromise.
Okay, we are joint number 1 with Cyrus. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Podcast from Nowhere is India's number 1 travel podcast. Joint number 1 with Cyrus Says.
The sad part is that none of us want to be number 2 because there is no number 3. Best to share. Yeah. I hate that in advertising shows. I've done a few where they say nobody gets the silver. You guys, what's that whole story? I used to argue this point. You all have gold, silver, bronze, but no, nothing was meritorious enough and all that. Come on, 2,000 people send entries. Can't you give somebody a silver and somebody a bronze? No, it was not great enough. So we have a gold only in this. I can't buy that argument. I just think it's wrong.
I think we all know how these awards are created and made, right? Basically, purchase orders were not fulfilled.
Yeah. You did not
not enough for bronze. But listen, we'll do it. When the podcast awards start and all, we have to lobby. We have to be insincere as much as we can. We have to bribe, whatever it takes. And if we don't get it, we have to make our own award show immediately.
Sorry, Cyrus. You are being extremely wrong here. There is no question of bribing. We will start the awards ourselves and award it to ourselves. Yes. So what is wrong with you?
So we can bribe ourselves. The money will stay with us. We'll bribe ourselves. We'll get the sponsor to put money in, which goes back to us. It is the Indian way. Welcome, Utsav. Welcome. Open your heart.
Transfer it from one shell company to the other shell company.
There you go. Now you're thinking, beta. I'm proud of you. Welcome to the Rajya Sabha.
Thank you very much. I'm biding my time now.
Yes. Where's your book and mic? Carry your weapons with you at all. Imagine when they frisk them and they enter parliamentarians. First check for books and mics.
I actually have a mic with me right here, Cyrus, if I want to throw it.
Your mic is bigger than mine. Huh? Don't make fun. Yeah. Okay, back to our so-called formality and formalities.
Yes.
Do we have a topic?
Yeah, we do. There is a politician called Sukhbir Singh Jaunapuria from Rajasthan. He's a BJP MLA. Last month,
I love the way you went Sukhbir Singh with great clarity and then got thrown by the little ball that went the other way. Jaunapuria, now that's... Why didn't you stop at Sukhbir Singh?
Yeah, Sukhbir Singh, that's the name. Can
I just cut in again for a second? Yeah. Again, when you do award shows, the biggest problem is names. Especially East, North, South, East, West together. And you just get thrown sometimes if you don't go to the list. Because that's one thing people don't forgive you if you don't say the name correctly. Oh God. It's horror stories. I'll tell you later. I won't interrupt the great man. Sorry, Mr. Thakkar.
Okay, yeah. So Sukhbir Singh Jaunapuria is a politician from Rajasthan. He's a BJP MLA. Last month, he was recorded. Basically, he recorded himself rolling around in the mud and blowing a conch, basically saying this is the way to get rid of corona. And then
he was elected to Parliament.
Yeah, and before that he was already. And 2 days back, he got tested positive for coronavirus. This is sad.
How can you not know his name?
Yeah.
This is a great man.
Yeah.
This is clearly a great man. Oh God, this is hilarious. What a lovely story.
Dude, and there are like photos and there's a video.
You redeemed yourself after that Slovakian hand cut.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
But there's actual video. This guy's literally rolling around in the mud, sitting in mud.
Do you not love yourself to be watching such videos of an old pot-bellied man rolling himself?
Whose name you can't pronounce.
Whose name you can't pronounce also.
By the time he's had 3 drinks, it'll be Sukhbir Singh, Johnny, tune kya kiya? But here's the lovely part in all this. We voted him. Somewhere in Rajasthan, people voted this guy to Parliament.
Yeah.
So we deserve what we get. We should not say anything more. And I hope all across the country, people are also rolling around with a conch and hoping to see how the effects of, if not COVID, maybe you'll cure your back problem or something else. It's always positive thought to come out of it. So is he going to live?
Yeah, he's going to be fine. I think he has like mild symptoms, but he did test positive after all of that. After all the precautions he took.
Or maybe he didn't chant the great leader's name while he was doing it, like someone did for 24 hours on YouTube, right? That would have helped him. Because
how do we know he actually chanted? How do we know it's not a
video? There's a video.
Yeah, but
it's
it could be looped live. You think it's live?
No, it wasn't live. Like it was a recorded video.
I mean, they say it's recorded live, but it's not watched live. But then I'm just saying, because, 24 hours is a long time, boss.
In our country, I think it's plausible completely.
It's plausible as long as the name is not Jaunpuria. Because that's a toughie. For 24 hours, wo to nahi ho paega. You try as much as you want. I would give Silvery about 15 seconds. And then I asked my mom to send him some nice messages, quotations from the greats.
But did you guys hear about this? When the parliament was in session, like, on the 14th of September, this past week, some 24 MPs tested positive in Parliament.
But they were not rolling in mud. That's the reason. They should have rolled in mud.
So this is when they entered and they were checked.
Yeah, so this was at the start. This was not, they didn't catch it from within Parliament. They all
Not within Parliament.
Yeah.
No.
They were tested. They were tested beforehand, I think. And 24 of them were found.
Listen, guys, the elections were in 2019. They had 1.5 years to perform. In the 1.5 years, the people of the electorate said enough is enough. Make sure they got COVID and send them there. That's what happened. So let's be open and honest about this. People can only take so much.
Amit, is this a conspiracy theory or is this an agenda?
This is an interesting question. I think this is just facts.
I think we've hit a fantastic. Our dynamic is just fantastic because Amit suddenly is very deeply entrenched in his thought, like a real philosopher from another age. And then that 2 or 3 infantile behavior happens on the other side, and just that mix is it's ridiculous. Who listen to us? See, either we go for the infantile behavior and people are just having a good time and listen for that, or they want the studious approach. But when you mix it, I'm thinking you're getting rid of everyone.
Or you're appealing to everyone. You can look at it either way.
We'll find out.
Look at it either way.
We'll find out post-COVID if me and Utsav aren't selling drinks, Kalakata and Nimbu Pani with Mr. John Poria's family somewhere in a hot Rajasthan desert, then we know we're doing okay. But so how many tested positive?
24 MPs, they tested positive. And like 7 from the Lok Sabha, some 24 from...
But again, these are people who are out and about, right? They're going.
I want to know which party scored the most. I know there's a story there.
They weren't inside Parliament. Let me clarify. They were tested before from the 11th, the 14th when the Parliament started.
So before entering
outside
Before
and
entering,
doing
outside,
strategy and stuff.
Correct,
So
exactly.
because nobody wants to infect the canteen workers, who are the most important people in any parliament. You don't want them to suffer because then what are you going to do?
Yeah,
Because let's be honest, 90% of the MPs go for the pakoda and the samosa. They're not really going for any agenda, as far as we know.
No, some of them go for porn in the Parliament.
Yeah, that's a few years ago now. Now I'm sure.
no, they just become more discreet now. I don't think that's more.
Yeah.
They just become very smart.
Now it's porn gifs are the same.
So are you saying you share it? So when they're laughing, they're not laughing at what's going on? God, we stand exposed as a society. Silvery, we need to get into that parliament somehow. One of us has to become a member of parliament. It can't be Utsav and me. Utsav is too sarcastic and I'm just naked. That means Amit and Silvery, you decide. Toss up.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if the Parliament is the only place where Pornhub is not blocked?
In India?
In India?
Now that's a fact and not a conspiracy theory.
You've got to spend so many hours at work. I mean, you've got to be a little flexible, God's sake. Let's not overdo this. The land of the Kama Sutra. See, whenever in India, when you want to justify anything, you just say land of the Kama Sutra. This is what I believe. I've heard this all my life. The moment the left liberal or anybody else wants to talk about pro-sex and this freedom of speech, land of the Kama Sutra. Well, Kama Sutra, if you go to middle-class houses, I want to know how many positions are actually practiced. Speaking from experience, with great luck, you get one. With great luck. Maybe two. If you exercise a lot and your wife has traveled a lot and really likes you. But I can't see 862 positions happening ever. Silvery, how many have you done since you're young? And your next bend?
About 5, 6, realistically.
When the woman is not medicated, how many have you done?
One.
There you go. Answer the question. Again, we've gone off topic.
Okay,
our erudite sage, our philosopher, is buried in thought and not allowed to speak. And Utsav has gone another way altogether. He's slowly lowering himself visually. So I only see his nose. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here. Utsav has lots more to talk about, but he says he wants to stretch for a minute. Then we'll be back.
I want to thank Intel for supporting our show. Do you remember when last year we spoke about how the Intel vPro platform is built for business? Well, I'm glad to say we've kicked things up a notch. That's right, Intel is back with a new and improved version of the platform. Optimized with 10th generation Intel Core processors, the platform is just what IT and business users need, especially in times like now when most of us are working from home. The new Intel vPro platform lets you do more of what you want and less of what you don't. So it's better for you and for your IT teams, who really are the backbone of keeping your work from home experience easy and enjoyable. The platform is built to minimize your efforts and maximize your PC productivity, especially when working from home. I can safely say that the new vPro platform gives you more enterprise efficiency with less constraints. Visit intel.in/more with vPro, that's VPRO, to discover how you can get more done with less waiting. If you're listening on the IVM Podcast Android app, take a look at the screen right now and you'll see a link which will take you directly there.
Back here from the break. Silvery, what's up?
What are your thoughts about schools reopening yesterday?
A few, very few. So this is going to be trial and error, right? Amit, what do you think?
They're
That's
going
what
to
the
be,
West has done.
no, but I mean, like a lot of them have started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped. I mean, there's no, I don't know.
But there's no other way.
There's no other way.
You have to start. You accept that it'll stop and you'll take a break again and come again. If 10 people get infected, etc. I don't know.
Yeah. No, so I think that's what you're going to see.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is also for people who are not so privileged, who are not able to afford the online classes, right? For example, we just got a phone from my mate's kids because they had no device to actually do anything. Right? And for them, that physical classes are important. Yes, it's a risk and they have to balance it, as you rightly said, it's a trial and error thing. But yeah, I think at some point they would have to take that leap and start something at least in limited ways. Because now they're anyway saying that it's not going to be a full 8 hours of school or whatever. It's going to be like limited time.
So school being 8 hours was always a daycare issue, right? It was never a learning 8 hours worth of shit in school. School, basically, if you wanted to kind of impart the amount of curriculum that you needed to, you could finish it off in 2-3 hours a day at most.
I heard a pub owner in London on the weekend, one of these news shows, actually talk about the fact that now London's at 10 o'clock for sure curfew. You should shut the pub and throw people out. His point was well made. He said, because according to the British government, at 10:01, COVID arrives. So I can't understand this. Does it really make a difference? Once you put people together with this 3 hours or 8 hours, is it really going to make a difference? Oh, mathematically, there are more chances. I don't think so. You're in.
Well, so I think the math has to do with how many people you're putting into in terms of density of number of people. That wow, I like the word dense today, don't I?
You do. Irony. We could do a whole show like a Jugalbandi. Irony, density, irony, and density live together on a computer key. Go on.
But that's the thing, right? How many people are inside the pub? I mean, like the amount of time that they're there, the longer the pub is open, you'll have people coming in and out. It's better, no?
How does it make a difference? Once it's open, you're open to it'll happen.
You want to keep it less crowded. That I think that's a something. That's
so Italy has allowed in football and tennis. Italian Open with Djokovic won yesterday. 25% to watch the semi-finals. Okay, 25%, 1 out of 4. Now, are they really going to sit with exactly 6 meter distance every? I mean, is that really going to happen?
Is it indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor.
So outdoor is fine. Outdoor, if you have that much space, if
people will follow it. Really, I don't.
But I mean, like, if you have 1 out of 4, so 25% this, that means that you can keep the seat on either side of you empty, and you're outdoors.
You can try doing all this, but sooner or later, it's just too difficult to keep that that measure going.
Well, I mean, like, what you're trying to accomplish here is not perfection. What you're trying to accomplish is shifting norms.
I think it's 2 and 5%. There's all this adding together. Once you open things. Be prepared. Immunity is the key. Those who will get it, and you have to just fight on.
I think with a game like tennis, it's probably slightly easier because people are a lot more civil when they watch tennis vis-a-vis when people watch football, right? And they completely lose their shit. So maybe it's a good idea to maybe start off with tennis and see how it goes and what percentage of people get infected after some sort of contact rate.
Or let only tennis people watch football and football people watch tennis. Maybe that will help them.
You might as well have an empty stadium, so let's go for it.
Yeah.
But nobody trusts Indians, Pakistanis and Bangladeshis and Sri Lankans because they won't allow us to watch cricket anywhere at the moment.
Well, that's because over here you'll sell 25% tickets and you'll still be full out. Stadium will still be full.
We don't know why this has happened. Yeah.
But I think it is the appropriate way to start this kind of stuff, right? If you're going to start larger gatherings, start them with. I mean, that's how we started offices and stuff too. And I think we should do it.
I haven't drunk for 4 or 5 years, but once you drink and socialize, how do you maintain distance of 3 hours sitting in a pub with your group of pals and girls and all that? I mean, it's not going to happen. It's just
you don't need to get hammered.
It's a social convention.
But I mean,
without getting hammered, you just tend to gravitate to each other to chat. It's very difficult. Maybe day one you did it.
Amit, you are asking people to have good judgment while drinking alcohol. You're asking too much.
No, I'm not asking that at all. What I'm asking the people who are running the bar, I'm asking them to maintain good judgment in the sense that, okay, you want to keep your bar open, you want to get people inside over here. We are in a situation which
you stand like a teacher with a ruler and you say, hey, Mr. Smith,
dude, again, nobody is saying that perfect enforcement is going to happen, right? But some enforcement is better than nothing. Right, and some idea of some graduation or some sort of a gradual kind of this is better than just letting everybody go. You remember what?
Sorry.
So, like you, I don't go to the clubs and stuff like that anymore. But you remember how the clubs used to be like 20 years ago, man? I mean,
but that's the way it should be. You're going there for the social occasion to
exactly.
Socialize.
But I mean, like in that kind of a context where there's indoors, no ventilation, can you imagine if somebody had COVID in Fire and Ice in 2001?
That's what I'm saying.
That place where everybody would have had
So you start Fire and Ice with 25% people, and by 3 months down the line, it's going to be 50-60% without you knowing because people are looking the other way,
right?
And it's going to happen.
But then that is going to happen. So that's how this stuff opens up gradually.
So
you're talking about 3 months down the line.
Please proceed. Darwin's theory, survival of the fittest, proceed and get on with it. And try
but why are you letting 100% people out right now? You do 25%. You let it go naturally. You let it just grow a little bit, right? Push at the seams. See what's happening, and as it's happening, then you
forward,
take other
2 steps backward approach. I think, well, everybody's playing percentages and are trying to say, okay, this is a great way to do it because we are giving ourselves a better chance this way with this so-called mathematical equation in your head, defeats the entire purpose, which is this thing just spreads really quickly, and it's all about your immunity.
But I mean, like, why not 2 steps forward, 1 step back instead of 1 step forward, 2 steps back?
You're hoping. Utsav also pointed out. They go for a fact that this is the proportion which will work in terms of maths that we are not.
I mean, it's all some sort of best guesstimate kind of thing right now.
Guesstimate, that's the word.
So, but given a guesstimate, the one thing that we know is that 0 is the safest thing and 100 is the least safe thing. We know this, right? Keeping it shut is the safest and opening it completely is the least safe. This we know. So we have to find something in the middle, right? So what is that middle?
So I think it also sort of comes down to how diseases spread and how statistics behind it work, right? So you need a minimum threshold of a population to be exposed to something for it to spread in the population. What is it? Is it 2%? Is it 5%? So that's the whole debate in the US, right? That if even 10% of the kids are not vaccinated for diseases, you will have a lot more kids getting sick. Whether if the number is 1%, that will not happen.
Right.
I think, unfortunately, we don't have enough data on COVID spread to be able to predict that linear or exponential curve.
By the time we do, either COVID will be gone or humanity will be gone. The way things are going.
Well, humanity is not going anywhere. COVID is not going to kill us off, right? I mean, like, it's not that dangerous or that drastic, right?
I think
from
the mortality
overall
rate is now becoming very controllable, frankly speaking.
The mortality rate is going down because, again, we've understood better how to treat it. People are getting tested earlier.
People aren't panicking enough.
Yeah.
They were panicking too much in the beginning.
Yeah.
I felt that also sends negative signals to the brain.
But I mean, the reason why we're in a relatively manageable situation is because people panicked so much in the early hours, right? I mean, like, if people had not panicked at all, now, Cyrus, think about how this would have gone, right? If we had not panicked at all, if COVID continued to increase at the same kinds of rates that it was increasing back then.
Sweden stuck to their guns. They're doing much better right now. They've had some bad moments. It's been up and down, but they stuck to their guns. Okay, I know now you'll say it's a smaller country, etc.
It is a smaller country.
The only way to fight this is with your own immunity. Those who are not immune or fear anything have to stay out of it. Fair enough. The economy could have gone on and people could have gone on. That's all I'm saying. The pub owner's point is that at 10:01 COVID doesn't drop in.
I agree with that. That I agree with completely. I think time-based restrictions are dumb. If anything, we should open up everything 24 hours a day so that you can spread shit out.
Yeah, now looking at it from the other point of view, from the balance, the checkbook point of view, if you're taking away my customers, give me more time. That's what I understand that. I'm just think from their point of view is what I'm saying. But what's the point of running an establishment? The whole of England lives in pubs anyway. We all know that. Anyone who's been there knows that you have to go to the pub. That's the culture.
A lot of restaurants are not opening up again, right? There was a study done by, I think it came from Swiggy or Zomato, one of these guys, that 60% of the restaurants that were like, smaller type restaurants are not opening up again. Yeah, they're not opening up again.
They couldn't sustain, or they don't want the responsibility because they can't afford it?
No, I mean, like, they have not opened up again.
No, but what is this? Economic reason?
It's an economic reason. No? I mean, and also restaurants are businesses which, like, they skirt at the edge, right? They're not exactly, they're high glamour businesses.
Especially the smaller
guys. Thin margin business.
Very thin. If you do well, your margins are great.
We closed it down. Utsav?
Yes.
We started a biryani business. We had to close it.
Yeah. COVID, we had to close it. And I don't know when we'll return with the cult, but I'm sure it will return one day.
We will. Then we will show the world that we are not scared. If you have COVID, we will charge you 5% less. Am I right?
But on a more serious note, with the festive season coming, I don't think I'm very optimistic about how things are going to be.
Oh, it's going to be terrible.
Because we'll just lose our shit with the festivals, and we will not honor a lot of the social distancing norms which we need to do.
I actually think that a reason why we've seen the uptick we've seen is because of Raksha Bandhan and Ganpati.
Oh, yeah.
How much more low-key do you want it to be, Amit? Come on.
No, but I think it was low-key, but it was still more than what it was there earlier, right? And that's why we're seeing the uptick. Even Raksha Bandhan, I know so many people
it was
who did Raksha Bandhan.
Raksha Bandhan was really low-key. A lot of people sent the thing, they just...
A lot did, but a lot met. A lot met also, right? And I see, again, the thing is...
But it was lower than normal by far.
It was, and that's why the numbers...
for zero again. Zero is not going to happen.
I'm saying the numbers are growing, but they're not like terrible or anything like that, right? The numbers are okay. They're fine. They are where they are, given that we're in a pandemic.
I repeat, in our lane, in Malba Hill, Walkeshwar, where we live right now, we've had 4-5 cases in the last month in this area. I'm talking about my 8-10 buildings.
Right.
All recovered in 3-4 days, including one 85-year-old lady. Nobody has died or anything like that. No, I'm not saying that that's a good enough data, but I'm just thinking that, more people can survive this than just a flu than you think.
No.
Silvery's got it 3 times. Oh, one was venereal disease, but the other 2 times it was clearly, Silvery, are you there? Check.
Yeah, I have it right now.
Okay, show it to us.
I'm talking about venereal disease. Sorry.
Okay, can you show it to us?
3 venereal disease from just one position.
Yes, and that alone. Only an Indian male can get it alone, without any partner. Tribute to our culture, I tell you.
Such a rich culture we have.
Yeah, you're telling me. Let's go back to the Rajya Sabha and ask the inquiry and inquire the question. Should we go to AMAs?
Let's do that.
Yeah, because you guys are just rambling on and on. Philosophy. This podcast is like a Hyde Park sort of thing, where people can just come and say anything they want. We are the last forum for democracy.
No, but that's a reflection of our countries. People can anyway say whatever they want.
Yeah. And then run. Because
they then run and then take a bath in the mud and get COVID. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to an amazing, awesome, excellent, extraordinary week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Intel, for supporting us. Great week on the network. If you haven't been listening, why haven't you been listening? You should be listening. Rohan Joshi was on Uncle Please Sit, discussed the toxicity of the Indian pop culture. Really fun conversation to listen to. Rajiv Samant, the founder of Sula Wines, was on Cyrus Says. Again, I think that was a fun conversation. Also want to call out the season finale of Yuddha. Yuddha is our military history podcast. Definitely do check that out. It's a really great listen. And finally, I want to just remind you all that, it's a dark time, but if you need a smile, go check out the Smile India podcast by Shifa Mehta. It's in both English and Hindi, and I think that you will really enjoy the kinds of things that she's talking about there. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. I don't understand. One quick thing on that whole Shiv Sainik's coming to beat up that naval officer. I don't understand the greatness and bravery and valor in 8-10 people try to beat up an old man. I would just think I'd be embarrassed to do that. Even if the guy was a terrible man or whatever, I'd just be embarrassed to join a group of 10 guys to beat up one old man. Don't you think that's...
Mobs are dumb. I mean, what else do you want to say? Mobs are stupid, right?
Old woman, maybe. Old woman, because they can really be irritating here. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Utsav smiled. Huh? Yes,
I'm just wondering if Cyrus's mom is listening to this and she's thinking, oh, he's talking about me.
If I could beat up my mom, I'd be living alone. Silvani ji, kya hai agenda?
Okay. First one is not really a question, but it's like an interesting kind of... she says, sent in by Clement Pope. She says, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a royal follower.
Wait, who sent it? Clement Pope?
Clement or Rachel?
He's having
that's the email
After
handle.
John Puria or whatever, he's just gone downhill with the names.
Yeah. It's Rachel. The person's name is Rachel. She says, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm your royal follower from Hindustan Times column article to your book to your podcast on IVM.
Ouch. Must be Utsav, your follower.
Yeah, must be. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much for listening.
Your cock and bull gave me and is still giving me a lot of happiness on my drives to the company. My boyfriend, Dilip Sharma, has been detained in Malaysia for nearly half a year and can't go back to Mumbai for Ganesh Festival and possibly miss the Diwali as well. So because there is no international flight from India to Malaysia.
Well, as we speak, Hong Kong has stopped Air India traveling for 2 weeks. Which in any case was Air India's idea was to reach in 2 weeks. Go on.
Yeah, can you please send him a birthday greeting? His birthday is on 9th October.
Dilip
Sharma. Basically, his poor guy stuck in Malaysia for like 6 months.
And his birthday is when?
That's hard.
On 9th of October.
Oh, John Lennon's birthday, no? 9th, 10th? Oh, okay, excellent. So, Dilip, happy birthday. Sorry about this, but Amit, what do you think? There are a few countries that are pretty hardcore about the air
There are, but I thought there was I thought there was a repatriation flight from Malaysia.
There is.
That would be limited number of seats again. So not everybody gets seats.
And people are buying like 2 to 3 seats. So
no. They're just charging you more. I think, and then they just keep that gap. But
when my girlfriend went back, she ended up buying 2 seats because
that's what she told you. She just wanted to run away. You understand, bro?
She's like, there's no place for you. There's no place.
Yes, come on, for God's sake. Read the writing on the wall, man. Damn you.
But yeah, people are
marry a girl whose surname is John Puria. I'll come to that wedding.
I'm a little surprised by that, though. A very close friend of mine has moved to Malaysia, and he's been there, and he's very much there. But I thought Malaysia is actually doing really well with COVID after that. So they initially spiked heavy, right? When they had
they had a bad July or something, if I remember correctly.
They had a bad April. So so basically in April itself, what was the Islamic group in India that got into all of the controversy? The same group had a Tablighi. So that's the same. There was still a Tablighi Jamaat kind.
A lot of them had come from Malaysia, by the way.
From Malaysia. So there was that meeting in Malaysia, which there was a big spread from, right? And that was the same spread that we had over here. But after that, Malaysia has been fairly kind of.
But obviously she's not going to make it up, right? The guy can't get a ticket.
I know. I'm amazed.
There's only so many seats. Is there another way to come to India from Malaysia by sea or something?
You can come by sea, I'm sure. I mean, it's the Indian, Bay of Bengal. That's all you got to cross, right?
Please don't pun the word seaman, but I mean, that is one way if you're in love, and I suppose love. Have you seen Titanic? also called Titanic. It's all about, doing whatever it takes to reach wherever you have to reach to meet the loved one or die because the iceberg hit the part of the ship which was not properly, checked before, apparently. I did the research on Titanic, so I know about all the details, as you can tell from my terrible
reconstruction of the film.
Reconstruction of the film and what happened prior.
Yeah.
But Amit, since you are the guy who knows all about traveling, Utsav, please, if you do, correct me.
Yeah, of course. I don't run a travel podcast, so I know nothing. I know everything about
it's
travel.
Called Postcards from Nowhere. You guys should definitely listen to it.
Postcards from Nowhere, you have often answered this question, Utsav. Is there a priority thing with countries in terms of who can go, if you leave money aside, who can go back to X country? There must be some.
No. So it just depends on the destination country. Every destination country currently has its own rules of which nationalities to be allowed and so on and so forth. So
why would anybody want to keep
figuring
Indians in their country? Make any sense?
No, because Indians don't want to take them. So they're like, "Nee, hamar log udhar hi rakho. We don't want them. But keep them there. We are enough here. Please give us all this migration shit so that people can be outside."
That's true. So everywhere else, Aussies are going like, "We'll take them back, mate. We'll take them back. We'll put them on a Qantas and bring them back." And then here it is. Ab to band hai.
The only thing we want from people from outside of India is their money. So like remittance bhejo, udhar raho leke.
Well put, Utsav. Absolutely spot on. You're right. We just don't. It's not about caring. It's a bit majboori thing again, where there's just too many other issues. You find your way back. We can't do anything right now.
So we've been looking into this a little bit, right? My mom wants to. So my brother had a kid a few months ago, and so my mom wants to visit the US, right, and trying to figure out things. So we've been looking into things a little bit, right? How can we do this? What are the possibilities, etc., etc. Travel between India and the US is relatively open. It's not like, too problematic.
Inflated fare?
No, not really, actually. I mean, like an economy fare I saw was like 85.
She'll get the seat next to her? She'll get the seat next.
Well, I mean, like we'll probably figure something of that nature out, yeah.
You have to pay for two, or she gets the seat next to her because they have a system?
So from what I understand, United keeps the middle seat empty, right? So they only sell aisle seats. They don't sell middle seats. So that's my understanding. We're still trying to figure out exactly how we're going to go about doing this. Because again, she wants to go from Bombay to Washington, D.C., and there's no direct flight Bombay to Washington. There's a flight from Bombay to New York. Neither me or my brother are keen on having her.
You'll have to take her along. One of you will have to go.
Well, my brother will have to go to Washington from Washington to New York to pick her up.
But she'll go alone to New York.
She'll go alone to New York. But because neither of us are keen on having her switch flights. Yeah. Right, we don't want to do like a transit thing because again the thing is
I think airports are dangerous, honestly.
Airports are dangerous, much more so than the plane. The airports are much more dangerous than the plane, and the other challenge is that once you get a transit country involved, then at that point in time you have a third country's laws that you need to worry about. Incoming from India, outgoing from India, all that kind of stuff also becomes a thing you have to worry about then. So we're just like we wanted to go directly. But then it's Bombay to New York, and then he'll have to go from New York to Washington.
There is one other way, but it means Utsav will have to make a very important phone call, and that is Air Force One.
That would work.
Sorry, I'm not going to invoke it right now. I think I will only use it when that MP recovers from his mud bath, and I think that's when I'm going to send him to nowhere so that people like him don't return to power. So that's my only hope now. Air Force One is only for those purposes.
Only one request: instead of hand baggage, can you hold his conch? I know. Why don't they make a video post that, Silvery? You should make a video post that. मैंने कहा ना. You should have made a video in hospital, with all the stuff around him.
अरे कुछ नहीं होता है.
देखा कुछ नहीं हुआ. बुखार भी नहीं हुआ. Okay, enough levity, not brevity. Okay. Brevity is what we need. One more.
Yeah, next one comes in from Dushyant R. He says, Namaskar, Cyrus, Amit, Silvery, and guest. How about we start a WhatsApp forward, which eventually becomes the 9 p.m. explosive news, of course, that celebrities are getting high on good old Parthenium. You guys know what Parthenium is? Parthenium is the plant that...
Now Silvery is excited. Now he's part of the show. Now he wants to be the big alpha dog. Moment we come into narcotics. Bolo, sir.
No. This is Parthenium is that plant that grows on like plots and, like just on the sides of roads and all that. So
is it like an oxide?
It's like a bad weed, like not marijuana. I'm talking about like a bad, that
unwanted
plant.
Unwanted, in your expert opinion, growth. Is it like marijuana or not? I mean, is it?
It's not. So basically, it says
it gives you a high.
No, it's you can't smoke it. It's what am I?
What's the point of this?
No. So he's asking, okay, how about we start a
Just
WhatsApp
reminding
forward?
you,
The
people have been
celebrities are getting
arrested
high
for
on good
consuming
old,
weed.
they are good on good old Parthenium. So that this becomes the 9 p.m. explosive news. Will the competent authorities launch a massive drive to get rid of this weed from our society? Will our great educated society be finally educated to keep vacant plots and surroundings clean? Basically, he's asking, will this, if we make the wrong
Basically,
plan?
it was a nice satirical sort of gesture on his part, which we screwed up with our stupidity, mine particularly,
By not knowing what Parthenium is. I had no idea what Parthenium
I had no idea
was.
what Parthenium is.
I had to look it up.
I'm
In
49,
fairness,
so
I had to
I
look it
thought
up.
the young kid again is showing me up with some new party drug. मैं सोचा भी हाल लगाओ that I've also tried it twice. But damn it.
Cyrus, we can't have such intelligent listeners on the show, please. You
I
cannot
know.
do this.
I know.
Basically,
Tell them not to listen now anymore.
The point two is
Not
the
only
point two
funnier,
is,
but with a more impact in their conversation.
yeah, the point is basically he's asking, okay, it's high time we put fake news to good use. We can use fake news to our advantage. Because if we know that news channels are going to pick up this fake news anyway, why not spread the right kind of fake news?
Yeah, the one thing is, of course, the news that they decide to, the trivial news, the Oscar Wildean thing, take some trivial news and make it more serious than it is. And the second thing is the zeal with which they present it, which is a truly Indian thing now. Because everyone is doing it.
Oh, man, it's amazing.
The zeal.
It feels very...
Who's on weed? Weed doesn't make you like that. Sorry, who's on cocaine?
It feels, what's the channel, the Aapki Adalat channel or whatever that is?
India TV.
India TV, right?
You
It
forget
feels like,
India TV.
I'm sorry, but it feels like everybody has all of a sudden taken like lead from that guy, right?
Not as obnoxious as what happened. Okay, you can say the gestation starts from there. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, like that seems to be like, exactly. Gestation's a good way, right? It feels like all of these channels have kind of moved into that sort of format,
You're right. No, I'm trying to remember. I remember him taking on Imran Khan once and asking questions which were obnoxious after some time. It made no sense.
No, and it's not just that. It's like the personal style, right? It's like this kind of like, this filmy style where the monologue is a
to give the devilish due, the Rajat Sharma's whole concept there was to be slightly, I'm going to, be a little obnoxious. I'm going to ask you, that's the whole idea there.
Yeah.
And so we have to take it a little tongue in cheek.
So I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the content per se. I'm talking about the format, right? I'm talking about
and how it evolved or de-evolved, if you want.
The format of basically like this kind of like, filmy style monologue, right? Not a intelligent monologue, but an emotional monologue. Right?
I would like to use the word infantile, but fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. But it feels like that has kind of come from there, right? And it's not good, man.
I mean, even Mark Antony, when he makes that speech, I mean, he begins a little slowly, These guys just start with, we have had enough. The people have had enough. I mean, the moment he starts...
The sheer suddenness.
Amitabh Bachchan gets told to it. He said, मैंने इतना नहीं किया 80s में, angry.
I know that, Cyrus, you got the acting school and stuff like that, but there are actually two schools of thoughts around the Mark Antony speech, right?
I know.
There is the friends.
He uses them to bring people in.
And there is the friends, Romans, countrymen.
That's the classical style.
But both of them exist, right?
Brando, it's always... no, but now nobody does that classical style. It's very rare, unless you go on stage in England. So it'll always... Okay, let's not get into that.
Now it's not friends, Romans and countrymen. Now it's Mitro.
Yeah, now it's Mitro and Italian could Nikalo. Friends, Roman are not our countrymen. Too much? Okay, fine. Lend me your years. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Let's see how long this stays. And as you say, the ramification and after effect of this. I'm so... the people who want to just look at everything negatively, I mean, they're talking about like you'll get the vaccine by 2022 or 21 end in actuality. And your economy won't recover for 3 years. And you won't see a silver lining in the sky for God knows when. And small business people will all be committing suicide because, there's just no way out for them.
But we don't have data on that. We have no data on MSME deaths. How many companies companies have died? Nothing. No data. So it's all good. It's all good.
Isn't it crazy how much...
We'll solve a murder. Utsav will solve a murder.
We shall. And that will bring all the redemption this country needs.
That's all we need. That's the karma that keeps us together like glue. Sorry, Silvery.
So guys, I was saying, I just remembered, isn't it crazy how much data the government does not have of this period? Like all the people who lost their jobs, all the people who have tested positive from other states, who were in other states at that point. So all these numbers, ridiculous numbers.
The guy I got my gym stuff from, which he gave me free, I had to go and buy everything because he shut the gym just last week. He just couldn't sustain 6 months. He's a small gym, 500, 600 square foot gym in Tardeo. He couldn't sustain. Yeah. Those stories just couldn't get swallowed. It's just going to get swallowed. There are many of those stories, but that guy is the main breadwinner for a lot of people around him and all that. And he's worked hard to get where he was, take loans to get his own gym. He didn't come from any sort of money. All right. And now that's it. He's not trying to sell fish and all that. Okay, let's hope all works out for him. But I'm saying all across the country, these stories are just going to be there. And the reality is they have to just get up in the morning and find a way to survive.
Which is the best part. Data collects these kind of anecdotes and converts it into hard numbers. But when you don't collect data or collect it or don't choose to explore it or expose it to people, that's where the tragedy really lies, right? Yeah. I mean, if you remember what happened with the unemployment numbers before COVID, the first highest employment in the last 30, 40 years. I mean, that story was essentially trying to be buried. One journalist dug it out, and then, of course, it opened a whole can of worms. So, I mean, when they say data is the new oil, it is true in many, many ways, right? It's true that you can completely change a country's narrative just with that data.
Again, depression. We were going so well, guys. We were a happy family talking rubbish, making fun of the government, or of all the institutions that we all come together to make fun of. And now suddenly we're thinking of people losing their jobs, livelihood, and how unemployment has been there. That Damocles sword over our head before COVID. What the hell's going on, Amit? What do we do? Can I go with your mom to America? I'll sit 2 seats apart. And I'll make sure she catches the flight to Washington. I'm going to stay in New York if you don't mind, boss.
That's fine.
Those Lebanese guys on the road make the best falafel.
Yeah. Best part is, Cyrus's mom would be like, you will take other people's moms, but you will not take me anywhere. Cyrus, you will have a hard time, Cyrus. Just let's face it.
I will. But for 10 days, she has to not send me an SMS. 10 days. I want 10 days of peace. Yeah. All right.
One more.
Quick, one more.
Yeah.
I've got to meet people and who will pay me money.
Cool. This one is sent in by Gaurav Hanwal. He asks, hello guys, cheers. I've been listening to the podcast since 18 months. On your recommendations, I started listening to Joe Rogan Experience and started watching Parks and Recreation. Love them both. So thank you so much. Please keep on recommending such bomb stuff.
Yes, Postcards from Nowhere is a great travel podcast. Gaurav, you must listen to.
Encompassing
recommendation from Cyrus says now.
Yeah. It encompasses both. Parks and Recreation is there in theme. And of course, the Joe Rogan Experience is felt in full. When you go on to
it's the ultimate meta podcast out there. Only 7 minutes.
By the way, his transgender issues are coming back to bite him. Huh? Now suddenly this Spotify.
It's not surprising. It's always known that's going to be a problem, right? I mean, like this was like the first question that I saw in all the podcasting community newsletters, that how are they going to manage their community standards issue with Joe Rogan? I mean, it's going to be a challenge.
Is Joe Rogan more right than we think he is?
Joe Rogan is. I don't think he's very right. I think he's. He's
definitely more liberal, but he's more
the right side when it comes to guns, when it comes to transgender,
left side of
gender rights. Sorry.
He's on the left of center, I would say.
No, so here's the thing, right? Left and right are very short-handy.
It's issue-based. It's not a full thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the people who are left and right on every single thing in lockstep are basically, I think, people who have abdicated their thinking, right? They're letting basically other people decide for them or what your position on certain issues should be, right? I mean, like, I feel for myself, I am left and right in both ways, right? I'm very left when it comes to social issues. I'm very right when it comes to economic
issues. You're not left and right, you're round.
That's true.
I wish I had something to say on the Joe Rogan Experience, but I listen to Cyrus says so. I don't have no time for Joe Rogan.
We are watered down Joe Rogan. I wish we could take on transgender issues. For some reason, nobody takes us seriously. What does he know? He's not even male.
Did you guys hear about Trump retweeting Joe Rogan's that thing? Like Joe Rogan can moderate a 4-hour debate between Biden
I saw something
on
like
his
that.
podcast, and Trump retweeted it saying, "Yes, I will do this." And Biden just didn't. So
because that's not how this is going to work.
It's not how it's going to work.
Yeah. So what's the point in even acknowledging it?
Okay. I'm more interested in seeing the portrayal of Jim Carrey as Biden on Saturday Night.
I'm looking forward to that. Has that happened yet?
Yeah. Because the thing is, he has to be the least animated character he's ever been. And Jim Carrey is over the top. And suddenly he's going to be like, oh.
Okay. Sorry. Completing Gaurav's question, he says, so please suggest me things I could do while listening to podcasts, except for running and working out or washing dishes. More power to you guys. So basically, he's asking the reverse question. Normally, we will ask, what can I listen to while working out?
We get it. Because it is a behavior dynamic. But Utsav, your millions of listeners, do they prefer to do things, or are they just completely, focused on actually being involved actively in your podcast?
No. So my thing is that my podcasts are completely actively involved because it is so short that you can actually finish a task in that point in time. right? So when they listen to that podcast, they're like 7 minutes break. Abhi sirf yahi sunenge aur kuch nahi karenge life.
If you ask my wife, I can finish 2 tasks in 7 minutes.
I am sure you can finish many more than that.
So is that necessary, Amit, that you have to do something? Because it's more like a radio feel. This isn't traditional radio in that sense.
It's not. So I think, again, we know kind of what are the behaviors people use when they are listening. So workout, commute, chores are the number
Eating.
one.
I love eating and listening to podcasts.
Yeah, but then what are the... So chores is a broad term, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So chores basically involves basically anything that you can do unconsciously without having to pay active attention to
According to Alibaba, there were 40 of them. I've never really counted.
So there, you know what? Maybe we should come up with the 40 chores you can do while you to listen to a podcast.
You can get a sponsor for that.
Yes.
Alibaba can do it. We can get Alibaba to sponsor us.
We should try for that. That's a good idea.
And the 40 chores.
Yeah.
We are Indians. We say the same word in many ways.
But I mean, like chores, right? So eating is one, getting ready, I listen to podcasts all the time, right? So I mean,
Podcasts in the shower, actually.
Yeah, so in the shower, when you're...
How do you listen in the shower? What do you mean? You keep it on.
Put on the speaker. Yeah, put on the
speaker and you can hear it. Yeah.
21st century fucking shoots.
You can...
I can't even hear my mother from outside saying, "Match has started!" What? We're 80s. We're just 80s.
A lot of people listen to them as they go to sleep, right? I mean, like it's the nighttime listening because...
But then they're not paying attention.
No, you are paying attention, but
It must be my show. Bastards.
So there is some science around this, right? That you want to turn your lights off, your devices off, stuff like that at least a couple of hours before you go to bed. Yeah. So what do you do for those couple of hours if you want to turn your television off and your laptop off and your phone and you don't want to look at your phone? Listening to a podcast for an hour before you go to bed is a good way to do it, right? So maybe you fall asleep while listening to it, but the idea is listen to for a podcast for an hour, stop it, and then go to sleep.
Yeah, Kunal, my friend, actually got the sound of whales, a marine life, to lull himself to sleep. Then he started feeling hungry, so it didn't work. You got to figure this out for yourself. What will lull you to sleep? I luckily am married. She starts talking, I'm out. She never listens. We're safe. Guys, we're safe. You're all safe. You can all take a shot. Everybody take a shot. Don't be scared. Fight for us. We men are going down here like the Titanic. Like the Titanic, I tell you. All right. I think we're done.
I think we're good.
Very enjoyable webisode for all of us. Great fun, guys. Let's do this again in 21, 22. Oh?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yes. Happy India. See you soon. Next elections. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you. We need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Entertainment is like food for the brain. It's a window to culture and a great way to understand the world around us. The internet has changed what it means to be an entertainer, creating new storytellers with millions of fans. It has spawned a new breed, the story sellers, those behind the scenes creating the business for this ecosystem. They work with brands, platforms and channels who are keen to capitalize on an audience hungrier than ever for more stories. I'm Vineet Kanabar, and I have a ringside view to how stories are told and sold. On my show, I bring you creators, artists, executives, and marketers for a freewheeling conversation around the business of entertainment. Tune in to Storytellers and Story Sellers for personal stories, analysis, and criticism every Thursdays as I talk to the brightest minds telling or selling great stories today.
Namaskar, this is Ashish Vidyarthi. Yes, my friend, these are challenging times, but in these challenging times, we can create something extraordinary. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey, available on the IVM Podcasts, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, we have a great opportunity called life. Cheers.